You're like, there's a thing happening. Good morning. There is a thing happening with my hair. We're going to fix it while we do the intros. I'm Roth Cornett. This is the hair. That's the hair Joe Starr. That's how you hair. Right there. You also hair right here with Danielle Radford. It's
my hair
Thursday.
My hair is huge today. It's fun.
It's amazing. Darren Merle is here as ever to bring us the wisdom and the grace.
No hair.
Look at that. No, you got some 5 o'clock shadow going on. That's like impressive.
It's laziness.
Well,
Sheer laziness.
laziness is
laziness
working
looks
on
good
you,
on you,
son.
Captain.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. We're aligned already. We have a lot to talk about today. The Dumbo trailer. There is a this makes me very happy, and I think Dan, you'll be with me on this one.
Yes.
Celebrities are trying to save FilmStruck. That's exciting. And then we got to talk about that Bad Boys 3 title. And then we have a great junket piece for you. If I do say so myself, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have framed it that way because I did it. Ha ha. Okay, let's talk about Dumbo.
Do it.
This is Tim Burton. This is a return. I don't know. I think a lot of people are hoping it's a return to form for him. I'm going to get your opinions about whether that's true. This is starring Colin Farrell, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Eva Green, and Alan Arkin, among others. This is the live action depiction of... Look at that. Oh my God. See, here's the problem. Right there, you got me. Now, Joe, like just with the baby elephant, you just got me. Joe, how about you?
My first thought was that people will really like the tiny elephant with giant eyes, but they will not like Alita Battle Angel with giant eyes. And I don't... To me, they're in the same spot in the Uncanny Valley. I've accepted them both, but...
That's interesting. That's an interesting take, and I think you're right, because perhaps we are attuned to seeing the cartoon depiction of any animal that I'm supposed to want to pick up in a blanket and nuzzle and feed a bottle, which I'm not going to lie, I absolutely do.
Right, and also, we love the baby versions of things.
Yes.
We love, obviously, puppies, the big eyes. They make us love them more. Kitties, the big eyes. It makes us love them more. So we love the big eyes there, whereas, with humans, babies have big eyes, but they tend to they go to scale. Whereas with Alitas,
I also don't think that we have a strong sense of affection or the need to maternally take care of an adult human. Unless some people may. I don't know. I don't judge you.
Some people
Dan?
do.
Tim Burton loves big eyes so much he made a whole movie about it.
Yeah, he did.
He sure did.
It's true.
Yes, he did.
Do you? It was good. What do you think of the trailer? Does it make you more or less excited?
Michael
for the movie?
Keaton leading a circus parade is my baby elephant.
Okay.
When it comes to this trailer, Dumbo's cute, whatever. But I am more interested in how is he going to leverage the large amount of talent that he has in this film. I recently rewatched the original Dumbo. There's not much to it. There's really not. It's an hour long.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of space to operate. I saw some people yesterday who were like, where's Timothy Q. Mouse? Upset that he wasn't there. There's some other things that I hope aren't in this movie that people I don't think will be too upset about. But yeah, I think he's got kind of a blank canvas to work from. And I hope that it's a nice hybrid of the story and then Tim Burton-ness, but straight from the vein Tim Burton-ness.
Yeah, baby Tandy Newton is adorable. I should look up her name. She's an actress with a real name, but I am immediately struck by how much she looks like a miniature Tandy Newton.
She does. That's true. Yeah.
Huh.
Especially she also looks like my niece. So I'm like,
Yeah, I think there's a lot in this movie that's set up just to make us feel endeared to it from the trailer. Whether that can sustain itself throughout the story, that's another question. Tim Burton at his best, I think, was levels of genius, Tim Burton at his best deals with outsiders and those that are reviled by society and the very few who can see their beauty, and that's what Dumbo is all about. So I don't know. I just want to hold that elephant, Joe.
I think
I want to hold it.
I think because it seems like they're building a pretty strong story to sort of pad out that extra 30 minutes of feature they need to be a full 90-minute movie that Dan was kind of talking about. I feel like they're filling that out with the father and his story with his kids. And him sort of trying to stand up for them and do something they can believe in. And I think Tim Burton has done a movie with really good, strong, sort of heartwarming family drama surrounded by weird, and that was Big Fish. So I think he can do that again. Tim Burton isn't necessarily just all dead trees. he's also.
Nah, they do have the little stripes on the knees. Like he did get some of that.
Oh
in
yeah.
there.
Oh, the
He got
Burtness
some
is
of that in
there. The Burtness is
All
there.
of his movies have a ton of heart.
But I mean, just that really, that core family, because Edward Scissorhands has a ton of heart, but I think it's heart of a different way. It's not just sort of a nice sort of warm family drama in the way that I think he's going for here. But I think he can pull it off. Danny DeVito is literally, I think, playing his same character from Big Fish. So I have.
Feel good about that.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
I like that the first time we see him in this, he's like, "Rah!" Like whatever.
I liked Big Fish more than.
circus like a hawk from hell.
And now I can't wait for us to do the recut with his sunny dialogue.
Oh
this
yes,
trailer.
I'm sure we've already got
Absolutely
people
have.
working on it.
got
I just
our-
realized
we've
you
got our
guys were all
finest
doing
minds.
scissor hands at me. I thought you were trying to tell me I was doing something weird with my hands.
Oh
And I was like, what's happening?
Okay.
I thought they were doing penguin hands, which is
From a
kind
hawk
of close
from hell.
to
Very. We're gonna stay on target.
One
Stay on target. Stay on target. But after a very quick segue into this question for you guys, have you ever seen Better Off Dead?
I have not.
Yeah, John
Have you
Cusack.
seen John Cusack? If
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys haven't seen this is in a classic
It's your
80s
favorite. It
film.
has raisins in it, sure.
It's got lots of raisins in the French. But there's a scene in which someone's doing this. It's a couple, and one person starts it, and then it just escalates into like a full bath because. Do you have this experience that Joe had where if someone does something, you think they are telling you that something is on your face or wrong with you or you're doing something right?
And they're trying to be subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call that paranoia, but yes.
Well, I think we've learned an important lesson today, guys. Most people are thinking about themselves. All right, so back to Dumbo. And not you. So we should feel less self-conscious.
Yeah.
Back to Dumbo. On a scale of 1 to 10, how highly anticipated is this for you? Exactly. I wanted specifically to ask Dan that question.
That's
How many
purple. I don't know. That makes as much sense as any number I would give you. I don't know.
I'm more of a mauve. on this
Seven-
one.
7.48.
Good.
Solid.
Oh,
that makes
no.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes
That
sense
makes
to
a
me.
lot of sense, Dan. That tracks. I think they did the job that they needed to do with this trailer.
Yeah, I think it's super cute. It's not like the movie I'm most looking forward to next year. Next year is packed. But, it's very cute. And I get to watch a lot of movies a month, so it'll be one of them.
Yeah. I'm still not sold
Yeah.
necessarily on the live action remake experiment. Some of them have taken their stories in new, interesting directions and sort of justified their existence. Some of them have been shot for shot remakes, and I'm curious to kind of see where on the spectrum this one lies.
The shot for shot. Well, the one that was, I think, criticized for being the closest to the animated film was Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
They did add a few things here and there, but man, that killed. It did really
Oh yeah,
well
no, it did really well.
financially.
I was just bored.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm 1-1 on these things.
Part of me is excited about The Lion King. Part of me also feels like they could have saved a lot of money and filmed a table read.
Yeah.
That I would have loved just as much just to hear those people sing those songs.
Beyonce wouldn't have come to a table read.
That's fair.
That's my only. That's
What
my only
if
thing.
the table was from space and it floated?
Yeah.
If Blue Ivy could schedule her for it, then she would have.
I don't know if people are as, to be honest with you, Dan, I know you just recently rewatched it, but I don't think that people are as familiar with Dumbo as they are with The Lion King.
Sure.
So even if it is a very close retelling, it probably won't sort of bother, especially the kids in the audience won't be as familiar.
Yeah.
But having said that, we just saw The Grinch, which really was originally a very short film, about 20
Very short,
minutes.
yeah.
They stretched
Blessedly
it out
so.
to over an hour, and it was
That sounds good.
tedious and useless and very aggressively meh.
That tracks.
But he's got opinions about LA and traffic.
And other cities, depending on where the billboards are.
I can't
Yeah.
even. It
People are
worked.
finally coming around for me. People are finally noticing like that the city is in the wrong font. Like if it's in if it's in Philadelphia or whatever, like the font is off. They just plastered a new sign over. People are finally coming around.
Yes, Grinch truthers.
Joe's mission to take down the Grinch is well on its way. The thing with Dumbo, though, too, in terms of stretching out the story, as long as you're telling a new story with that, layering that into what already exists, that's great. But if you're literally stretching, which I think is what the Grinch did,
Yeah, it was adding a bunch of episodes in the
Yeah.
middle that didn't really serve the overall story, which to me is very sort of just like, okay, let's,
Yeah, sure,
you know,
sure.
if you're gonna expand these things, you have to go back to formula and reinvent, which is what I thought The Jungle Book did really well. They took the DNA of the cartoon, which was about an hour-ish, a little over an hour, and sort of made a movie out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope they do here.
Well,
Beauty and the Beast I thought was a recreation of the cartoon, which I'm just like, great, but I already liked the cartoon,
saw
and this
it.
was just
it's fine.
a reenactment of that, but I already had this one that I
Yeah, it
loved.
was like cosplay.
Well,
Yeah.
even to take it back to the 2000 Grinch, which I'll give credit for trying to do something similar, where it tried to go back to basics and say, okay, what's the narrative that we're going to tell? Did that to a point, and then I think in the last 20 minutes was like, we just got to do the story now, and kind of threw the original story they had sort of tried to tell out the window.
Yeah.
Well, I think the total we are aubergine on this is what I'm. Yes, that's my takeaway.
You know, I like me some Colin Farrell and some Eva Green. I like Danny DeVito. I like Michael Keaton. I like Alan Arkin. I like all these people.
I like little baby things.
Yeah, and you like
Yeah.
little babe things? I think sure.
All right,
I want
let's
to know how
talk
trippy
about
the pink elephant thing's going to be. That's what will sell me on this movie.
And we saw some of it, right? It was just
just a little bit.
bubbles or whatever.
Oh, it better be more than bubbles.
Oh, babe, it's just gonna be bubbles.
No, that
Yeah.
should be crazy.
No, you're getting bubbles.
You're getting bubbles.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No Star Scream for you and Bumblebee. No, just Bubbles and Dumbo. It's been a tough year. The Grinch. It's been a tough year for the movies for Joe. Let's hope it turns around, and that these celebrities actually band together and save FilmStruck. So, if you guys don't know, FilmStruck is being shut down. This is the place to go for if you are a classic film lover, if you are a film lover, if you just want to expand your knowledge base. So it's very, very unfortunate. A lot of people in Hollywood are upset. I also saw a tweet from Rebecca Keegan the other day, formerly of Vanity Fair, I think now, which THR, saying that another ancillary cost to this is that every time you switch sort of the mediums that this library is on, you lose things, and so that's really that's very troubling if you are a film lover. So some folks have banded together to reach out to Warner Brothers Picture Group chairman Toby Emmerich to try and save it, which is obviously they have the Criterion Collection. So this is what the letter says, the unified letter. Dear Toby, we know that Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese have been in touch with you and Warner's Media Group about the demise of FilmStruck and have urged you guys to keep it going. While it was not your decision, we would like to loudly echo their sentiments. The FilmStruck service was and is the best streaming service for fans of cinema of all kinds. Classic studio movies, independent cinema, international treasures. Without it, the landscape for film fans and students of cinema is especially bleak. There's a reason there was a huge outpouring from artists and fans over it being shuttered. They were doing the movie god's work. We know one of the reasons that it's been shut down is because of the upcoming Warner streaming service, but really, FilmStruck shouldn't be a conflict of interest. In this day and age, there are dozens of platforms. Curation of content is really important, and FilmStruck was providing a service to both satisfy older fans of cinema and a younger generation of cineastas that will be making amazing movies long after we're dead. That got dark. In an era of huge it's also true. In an era of huge corporate acquisitions of cinema by communication companies in a business that may render billions of dollars off a medium like cinema, we believe this is a gesture that is needed, a minuscule show of goodwill towards the preservation and accessibility of a tradition and a rich history that would benefit the public. So, we want to add our names to the petition started by Marty and Steven and want you and Warner's to know that we feel equally strongly and would do anything to support the service being saved. This letter was signed by P.T. Anderson, James Brolin, Damien Chazelle, Alfonso Cuarón, Guillermo del Toro, Leonardo DiCaprio, James Gray. There's a lot of names on this list. I think we can just put a link to the letter in the description, but suffice it to say, many of the filmmakers that you would know and love and that sort of count and I hope have some influence in this industry have signed this letter.
Sure.
Dan, let's rant.
Yeah. Well, to loop back to what you were saying, I read the same thing, and what I read was 5 to 10%. Every time there's a format change, a major format change in Hollywood, 5 to 10% of films are left back. So when VHS went to DVD, 5 to 10% of films didn't make that jump. When DVD went to Blu-ray and HD, 5 to 10%. And now streaming, it's the same amount. So what happens is movies get left behind. And it's not all small movies, by the way. True Lies is a movie that has not made the jump from DVD to HD. There's no Blu-ray version of that film available. That's
weird.
Yeah, exactly. Like the version I have of True Lies is the same Blu-ray I bought in 1995, but it particularly impacts smaller films, independent films, foreign films, classic films, and what FilmStruck is it's not just the Criterion Collection. It's this is the only place where you could get a lot of these movies. You couldn't just like, oh well, I'll just buy it off Amazon or no, they disappear, and this is what happens over time. And so I have FilmStruck. I did not and still do not use it as much as I should because it was like a security blanket, to be honest. I had it because I knew that I always had a great bank of classic movies waiting for me that I could watch. You could months of watching. You would never run out. So I hope this works. I mean, you got people like Chris Nolan and obviously Scorsese and Spielberg, who have both been very outspoken advocates for film preservation in the past, and Chazelle, and then Edgar Wright signed a separate letter with Barbra Streisand and a bunch of other people. So I hope maybe, because the artists are the ones that can actually pay retribution to Warner's if they don't do something about this, maybe they'll have a little bit of influence.
It's also a PR move at this point for them to show that they are committed to the preservation of classic film, that they are committed to film as an art form, not just a business. It is a business. It doesn't, you can't make a movie without money. Movies are very expensive, which is why it's one of the most challenging industries, I think, to enter, because you can't just do it on your own. How many people do we know that have scripts? There are probably amazing scripts. You can't, if that is not made into a movie, it's just going to sit there. So long story endless about this. I think this is an opportunity for Warner's to sort of publicly make a public relations play here more than a business strategy.
Well, I think it is almost a business strategy. I think it's there's a marketing and branding opportunity here too, because as all of these studios grow, they're going to find that they need to find. I'm in the sinking chair. I just realized
You are.
that.
Yeah.
You are.
You're a million times shorter than me.
You guys
It's
got so big.
Hi.
Thanks for letting me at your show. I think.
What do you think, Joe?
I think companies are going to find that as they continue to grow and sort of get bland and homogenous, that they're going to have to distinguish themselves from one another instead of just being, hi, I'm also Disney.
So I think Warner Brothers has an opportunity.
Keep doing the kid voice.
Warner Brothers has an opportunity to say, hey, this is how we're different and we still respect the classic studio feel, and so we're going to offer FilmStruck for free or as like $1 extra as an addition to our Warner streaming service, and that's how we differentiate from Disney.
That was so smart.
That was so
That was
good.
great. That
Well
was so
done.
well put. That was amazing. Truly, gold star. I think you're absolutely right.
For me, so I come at this
I
from
collect swords.
you still do. When I look at something like FilmStruck, we often talk about how there is a gap when directors will say, well, where are the women directors if I want to hire someone? Where are the directors of color? Where are the queer directors? We often talk about, yes, obviously there are people here, but something we don't talk about a lot is the fact that there can be a gap, not just in people hiring, but yeah, sometimes there are a gap in people who are able to do it because of things like money. It's something that the UCB theaters and Second City and some other theaters have been trying to deal with more scholarships and things. But even then, not everyone is getting a scholarship. And so if you are a young person who is broke, who wants to study film and is not able to have the resources to go to a film school, something like this is a fantastic resource to get to learn about films. And so it's not just cutting off, obviously it's horrid that we're losing this huge chunk of history, but this is also a fantastic and inexpensive learning opportunity for so many people who are now not going to get access to these things that may usually, okay, well, the school has a copy and you'll see it in school or whatever, whereas someone,
But school doesn't have a copy.
The
They
school
have a copy.
definitely doesn't
They have
have a
Clash of
copy.
the
Yeah, that's
Titans,
true. Yeah.
and
You
they're
know,
going to wheel it out once a month.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I think you're right, Danielle, because even in films, well, two things. First of all, we know that famously, are we?
Hold on, it's going to take me a second to
Sorry,
figure out
guys.
if we're caught
If
up.
we're still here, I'm going to keep talking.
The lights are still on. They didn't shut the
you're-
lights off here
you're
yet, if you can hear
looking
us.
at a blank screen, or I am looking at a blank screen. It's very unclear, so we're going to try and figure this out very quickly. But if you're still listening, because we are still here, I will respond to Danielle, who was talking about film school. And I will say that when I was in film school, are we still live?
We're live, but we're...
Okay.
This is the-
Oh,
we have to ship to. Okay, hang on.
Billy,
So Joe, why don't
Joe,
you tell us what you think about film preservation?
I would like to continue this conversation and refocus it on our sweaty balls.
Yeah.
Joe, I think you were making a really well-made point, and Danielle followed
Oh,
up beautifully.
we just
Hi,
faded back in.
back.
We're so great.
Welcome to
I was about to
SJU.
start dropping a lot of weird NPR jokes.
What's going on? All
right.
Literally anything that could possibly happen on this show has happened.
I know.
Yeah.
We had the fire drill twice, if you'll recall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and refocus us.
There's a banker outside with a plug, and they're just going.
Yeah.
Like the guy from Airplane.
Hang on, we're not at Bad Boys 3 yet. Okay.
The TriCaster's self-aware.
Hang on. I know the TriCaster's like, move on really quick. When I was in film school, we had to go and drive to it had to. But like Cine Family and like these tiny little and Vidiot's and like these tiny little video stores and DVD like
Scarecrow Video up in Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. To find things. And I think what FilmStruck does is something that the way our minds are constructed today, the way our lives are constructed today, and certainly for young people, is it locates these things in one place, and it makes it accessible and easy to manage in that sense. And if you think famously, people like Tarantino and so forth, they taught themselves the language of film just by watching so many films. So I think you're making a really well-made point that you could be smart and not go into an insane amount of debt like myself by going to film school and just watch a ton of films and read a lot. And think about it, and then just start experimenting. And FilmStruck was something that made you do that. And Joe, you made a really great point too, where as Warner Brothers I think where they're wrong and they're not thinking as a business, and they shouldn't, because you're Martin Scorsese and that's not your job, is having it separate from the Warner streaming service, I think is a terrible idea. But having it as an add-on. A bonus add-on. That's where it makes sense.
Yeah, and just maintain. Yeah, it's almost like a library in a way.
Or if
It's like Stars add on to Hulu or whatever. You know?
It would be great, considering the amount of support that it has, if they could just set it up as like the FilmStruck Foundation or something.
Yeah.
That's like
Yes.
a nonprofit
Yeah.
that will cover the cost of providing the
And that's
service.
what Scarecrow Video in Seattle did. Scarecrow Video, they're huge. They're basically a house full of movies. There are so many movies that they have where like they have the only one that's in print, and people have trusted them with that. You have to put down like a $500 deposit or something. And because when video stores, people just stopped going to video stores, they converted into a nonprofit because they saw how important it was to be able to maintain and keep this huge, vast film history. And I completely agree. Like, I think that could be a really good way for them to be able to do that.
Yeah.
All right, you guys let us know what you think. This is obviously something we're all passionate about. I hope this works. I really hope it works for all of the reasons that we've stated and more, and also just selfishly.
I'm much more passionate about our next story, though.
Well, our next story is really where it fires up around here. Bad Boys 3 gets a very weird title. This is via Geek Tyrant and Production Weekly and the internet. So Martin Lawrence and Will Smith confirmed that Bad Boys 3 is officially a go.
Like Martin Lawrence was doing anything. Sorry.
So here's the title for the film. Can we pull it up? Because I don't even think...
There's no title card.
There's no title card.
No.
It
Okay.
just exists.
It just exists. So it's Bad Boys for life, but the E is a 3.
Not everything has to be Fast and Furious, guys.
Bad Boys for Lift 3.
For
Live
Lift 3.
these-
I
excited.
refused if a film does that. I'm kind of like Shatner in that clip. It's like, no, this is the way you wanted me to do it, so this is the way I'm doing it. I pronounce it like that, so I say like Sisavinen, and my Murd 3 by Numb Aiders, and Fan Forstick. That's the most recent
Now
one.
this is where you're really gonna separate the kids from the adults. I was trying to find a less sexist way to say men from the boys. With like our dear Lon Harris got into a little skerfuffle on Twitter by calling out people who insist on calling the witch the Vavitch, and spelling it with the 2 V's all the time. Where it's like, it's just on the poster. I just say 7. I don't put because that's just what it looks like.
Yeah.
But if Vavitch is the hill you're going to die on, you now have to call this Bad Boys for Lift 3. You have to, because that's what it says.
Can I just say what this really shows to me is a complete lack of confidence in the franchise, because the word 4 is literally before the word life, and you could easily put the number 4 there and call the 4th movie Bad Boys for Life, and it would be fine. So they obviously have no confidence that there will be a Bad Boys 4. They just saved this for the 4th movie.
I think that's an important takeaway.
I think
man.
this should be a sign of what may be to come.
Yeah, shit just got real. Yeah.
Why is this still a thing, Danielle?
Bad Boys or this thing?
No, this titling.
You know, as much as I love Prince, not everything he gave us was good, and I firmly blame
Almost
Prince.
everything was.
Most of it was. I think that people did not understand his method for using numbers as letters, and now it has been abused in the wake of his passing.
Exactly. In fact, I take offense on the part of Prince.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Also, if you understand math differently, like Terrence Howard has different numbers in math.
Zero doesn't exist.
Because he doesn't believe in zero. So is this Bad Boys 2 or 4 for him? How does that work?
I think that this is Bad Boys 23.
Okay.
For Lawrence,
Okay.
If we were to do that.
For Lift 23? For Lift 23 and me?
Hey, man, it's Bad Boys for Lift 23, man.
We should do the Howard math on all the sequels.
I agree. I think so.
Where are we
That's
at
a
with,
video we're going to do.
You know,
Fantastic Beasts.
he forces his children to make molds out of clay of what he thinks his new numbers would look like.
Oh my God.
That's just a little Terrence
Is that
Howard.
a- is that a Howard fact?
That's a
Howard
Howard
fact.
fact.
Wow. Hashtag Howard
I think you
fact.
just got your graphic.
Yeah, Howard Facts. Well, that's been a segment of Howard Facts here on SJU. I also, while you're at it, if you're making any graphics, we're not asking you to, but if you were wanting to, I would love an airing of grievances graphic because sometimes we just have to do that. Where are we with Fantastic Beasts in the Howard math?
Ooh, Fantastic Beasts.
Like, is he counting Harry Potter and does he just go through and subtract
Well,
the zero?
yeah, because there is no such thing as zero, which actually in Howard math, I think that means it just doesn't exist because it's a prequel.
Oh.
Nothing can happen
Negative
before
integers.
one.
Oh, no
Yeah.
negative
So-
integers.
Negative
Yeah.
Howard.
There is no zero in the
Also,
Howard.
I don't personally know Terrence Howard, but I bet magic scares the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Like, I've just made that assumption. So
Hey,
I
man.
definitely know.
Where'd that quarter come from, man?
Have you seen the Harrison Ford when David Blaine
Give
came
me back
to his
my
house
thumb,
and did
mate.
magic?
No.
Yes.
No.
It's
You
so
haven't
good.
seen it?
I have not seen that, but I need to.
I'm gonna use my F-bomb, and so this is the
Here it
the
goes.
warning
This
for
is the
everybody
one.
at home. This is my F-bomb.
I'm really
Billy. Is it
excited when
okay?
you pre-announce it.
There is a clip, you can find it online. David Blaine did one of his specials where he's like, I'm going to go see all the famous people I know. And he like goes to their houses. And so he's doing a card trick with Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart. And he's just like, okay, I have your card here. And he's like doing his David Blaine thing. And he's just like, do me a favor, cut that orange open. And Harrison Ford's like, okay. And he like gets a knife and he like cuts open this piece of fruit and he opens it and the card he picked is inside of it. And he just looks at David Blaine and he goes, get the fuck out of my house.
Well, before you go check out that clip online, which I know I'm going to do as soon as we're done wrapped with the show, you have to watch Jude Law and the cast of Fantastic Beasts answering some of your fan questions because they were including Fantastic Beasts and where to eat them. That is coming up right now. We have it, don't we?
Mr. Scamander, do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you?
I got some fan questions. You want to do a rapid fire?
I love it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Who would win in a straight up fist fight, no magic, Voldemort or Grindelwald?
Fist fight, probably Grindelwald.
I think Grindelwald.
yeah,
I
in a
agree.
fist fight, don't you think?
Yeah, because Voldemort was very powerful, but he was really frail.
But I mean,
Yeah.
like, is this
Skin and
like,
bone.
can you bite an ear off? Is
Oh,
this
yeah,
like
that's-
that
oh,
kind
yeah,
of fist
but he's a
fight?
nasty
You know what I mean? I
fighter.
feel like he would play dirty and
Yeah,
like win
stick those
anyway.
claws in his
Yeah.
ears and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Grindelwald would because I feel like Voldemort's a little, you know.
Grindelwald's more scrappy.
Yeah,
And Voldemort's kind of
I think
not got
Grindelwald.
much of a face.
I think Grindelwald.
Who would win in a magical duel?
Voldemort.
But Harry took him down.
Well, who's more evil?
Oh, Voldemort.
Voldemort feel
Voldemort.
Yeah.
Voldemort.
I feel like Grindelwald's more complicated.
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't. I kind of feel like Grindelwald's more evil.
Wow.
Join me or die.
Who would be a better roommate?
Grindelwald.
Voldemort.
Roommate.
What,
those
Grindelwald
two?
or Voldemort?
I definitely Grindelwald.
Well, no, yeah,
Grindelwald
Grindelwald.
has charm.
I have experience in this. Grindelwald is marvelous roommate.
I don't think that Voldemort is able to smell like strong smells, do you?
He doesn't have a nose.
Right. I think he'd be the better one.
I'd much prefer to wake up,
To Grindelwald?
yes,
Yeah, me too.
than Voldemort.
Yeah, me too.
You know, because that would freak me out.
Yeah, I also feel like he would leave like dirty dishes.
And his cloak would always be going around the corner.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just wear something else.
Yeah.
I feel like Grindelwald would have great taste.
You're right.
Yeah, like we'd have like a great looking apartment. Just like, I would totally go for that.
Grindelwald would be like playing dope music and
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
would
yeah,
bring
yeah,
cool
yeah.
people around.
He's gonna have a guitar.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be like a party house. It'd be sick.
What one aspect of your characters would you like to see in the real world more?
Empathy.
I would say a strong moral compass.
You know, women taking no bullshit from anybody.
Which magical item or spell would be the most useful in your life?
Invisibility cloak?
A time turner, you want a sneak scope, you want an invisibility cloak, you want a wand.
Apparating.
Apparating. Never late.
I hate airports.
Although you can't apparate across countries. As in
But you could apparate through
internationally, right?
security.
You could
yeah,
apparate
through
through
all
security,
the cues,
that's true,
lines.
yeah.
Apparition.
Apparition, 100%.
Right?
You as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be so great.
The best.
You don't suffer from motion sickness, do you? I don't do well on boats. You'll be fine.
What's the one best piece of advice you've gotten from J.K. or wisdom from J.K. Rowling, either personally or through her work?
I guess the way that she talks about the characters and just how expansive the world is, it can be an unending exploration, you know, because for her, it just feels so limitless. Just that idea that the work is never done and that you can keep exploring all the time.
Yeah. And in the first film, Newt says this thing that worrying means you suffer twice, and I think that's a great mantra, and it's been very
For
helpful
life.
for me.
Yes.
She just said, trust your intuition. I had like all these questions about, you know, am I doing this right? And coming back into it, and I got the message, just trust your intuition, you know her.
When I met her, one of the first things she said was that she loves Jacob. He's kindred spirits with Ron. And I was like, oh man, that's really helpful because, you know, they both love food. You know, they're both clowns, but they're also lovers. They're also here. They get to do everything. So that was really informative to me.
You do you, I think, is what I get from the
to
series. Like, be proud of who you are.
Yeah, to embrace what makes you different.
Yeah,
I think is what makes her so celebrated and what people identify with so much.
What is the magical creature you would most want as a pet?
Picket.
Picket.
Okay.
Definitely the one as a pet in the new film is the baby Niffler.
I think that would be a disaster.
It would be a disaster, but to think how sweet and small they are, and
Yeah.
David Yates said this beautiful thing when I was working or imagining them, imagine their little heartbeats and imagine how hot they are in the palm of your hand.
Either the Niffler or the Mooncalves.
Yes.
I think the Mooncalves are really, really, really lovely.
So which one would have the tastiest meat?
I've never seen anything. I'm so appalled.
No.
Seriously.
That's awful.
Oh my God.
You can't eat them! You can't eat them!
You can eat?
No.
I don't want to eat any of them.
I'd eat Picket because
Oh my god, you said that so fast! You would eat Picket? You're evil.
No nice seasoning and crunchy, good protein, great protein.
It's true.
I wouldn't eat any of them.
To those that want to eat the meat, imagine their little heartbeats,
Yeah.
monsters.
Fried Thunderbird sounds pretty good right about now.
No.
Delish.
No.
Like veal.
Oh, no! You don't eat the creatures.
It has to be you.